Well, Yogananda called this new movement, new spirituality, self-realization. Could you touch on that a little bit? What and why he coined that phrase and why it's so appropriate?
He said at various times that in the future, in the centuries to come, that self-realization would be the religion of the future. Now, that's a pretty loaded statement, and it requires some clarification. Swami Kriyananda, our teacher, was always quick to clarify what Yogananda meant by this term. First off, self-realization is to realize, as Jesus said, whom do men say I am? To realize the I am a child of God from actual experience, not from mere belief or dogma and so forth, but to actually have a direct experience. And so what Yogananda was saying, and a big part of what's behind this book and so forth, is to provide hints for how the dogma-bound traditional Christian teachings can find their way, slowly into this more universal sphere. And part of the way that's going to happen, I think, is that people who are sincere, no matter what their outward religion is, but here we're talking about Christianity. So sincere Christians, and many, this is already happening to some extent, will realize that the most important thing is their relationship with God. And for a Christian, that's going to be at this point with Jesus Christ as a person, you might say. But that understanding that irrespective of dogmas and rituals and good works, that the real purpose of my spiritual seeking is to have experience. That too is in alignment with our scientific mentality. We are an evidence-based culture. We want to see what works. And so as consciousness begins to unfold in the years and the decades and the centuries to come, more and more people in all ways of living, but here we're speaking of spiritual life, will want a direct experience. And so when he said self-realization would be the religion of the future, he was in effect saying that whether it's Muslims or Buddhists and whatever, that people will intuitively want to have the experience of their higher self in whatever terminology they use. And to that end, therefore, it makes perfect sense that in all traditions, various techniques of meditation, silent prayer, silent inner communion, would gradually or quickly or whatever become predominant. They would still have their beliefs, presumably. They'd still have their rituals and so forth and their good works. But more and more, what people will treasure will be that alone time, as Jesus said, get thee into thy closet. So